Is Foundation the best medieval city builder available today? Ooh, I'm sure I've ruffled a few feathers there. It's a question I find myself asking more, and it's a fair question. Someone's got to be the best. Who is it? I've built hundreds of towns and cities across countless realms and genres, but I always come back to Foundation, and I need to know why. I'm not going to try and crown Foundation king. I'm here to understand why, out of all of the options I have available to me, that this is the game that lives rent-free in my mind. I know you want to know the answer too, so stick around and I'll do my very best to unpack it. This is a little essay, and I am Lord Bara. I don't think you'd disagree with me too much if I said that most people think that Cities Skylines is probably the best city builder. And like you, I've played a wide range of city builders, not just medieval ones. The sheer breadth of what's out there is mind-boggling. There really is something for everyone. Let's get the formalities out of the way though, shall we, and pay homage to the big ones. And I should say that no, this isn't an exhaustive list, so if I miss your favourite off, then sound off and let me know. If you enjoy city builders, you have played Cities Skylines, either 1 or 2. For the builders who want to create or recreate the modern world, streetlight by streetlight. Or perhaps something like Tropico, for those who enjoy a bit of role play and the occasional strategic withdrawal of public funds into your Swiss bank account. Or perhaps any of the Anno series, for the spreadsheet tacticians, min-maxing like an accountant possessed. And I wanted to start off by mentioning those 3 giants, if you like, because for me, they represent the holy trinity of the city building experience. Realism, escapism, and complexity. Most people, and correct me if you disagree, but most don't come to the city building experience wanting to be a beaver, for example. They come because, well, they want to build cities. It's kind of in the title, right? And I think combined, these 3 titles are the perfect example of what all city builders get right. But of course, the genre exists far beyond just them. You can now have a beaver colony, for example, I alluded to a moment ago with the title Timberborn. That's an interesting one because the environment itself is a resource. Or there's tower defenders like Becastled, which I have covered previously on the channel. Or you can point to any era from the plethora that are available, from the dawn of man, through Egypt, the Romans, deep into the heart of the Soviet era. There are so many creative spins on what it means to build a city, I can't possibly list them all. I mean, I haven't even mentioned settlers, the grandfather of all city builders. But if you know me and you know my channel, what I am most interested in is medieval city builders, or medieval things in general. So when I think about city builders, I usually think of Banished, Farthest Frontier, Manor-lords, of course, Pioneers of Begonia, not to mention genre-crossing titles like Bellride or Medieval Dynasty, or one I've got my eye on right now called Noble Legacy, which I'm also covering on the channel. So, for me, the question becomes, with so much choice, why does Foundation stand out so much? I'm sorry, there may be some people in the audience who are not familiar with Foundation, so perhaps the best thing for me to do is first define it if you're not familiar with it. In my own words, it's a relaxed medieval city builder with a focus on organic growth and resource management. Drumroll, please. That description doesn't exactly scream top tier, does it? And that, coupled with its cutesy art style, it's going to make even the casual city builder ask, is this really worth my time? I mean, I could play Manor Lords or even Banished and get a truer experience of medieval city building, I'm sure. So from a marketing perspective, I'd agree. But from a gameplay perspective, well, that's where things get far more interesting. You see, Foundation gameplay is quite simply refined. You know that saying, easy to learn, difficult to master? That's what Foundation is. Simple systems that add up to a greater, more complex, fulfilling experience. No offense to Banished, but I wouldn't say that its systems are simple. There's a steep learning curve there. And if you don't grasp it, then you are going to die repeatedly and early on in your game. For those of you brave enough to have actually put time and sunk effort into Banished, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That city builder will chew you up and spit you out. Conversely, Manor Lords has very simple systems, for now at least. Synergies that work with technologies that you unlock in the game and the environment have improved on that in the recent update. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to get at when I say that simple systems work with each other in order to create more and more fulfilling complexity. You see, it's all about the tools that you're given as a player. I ask myself, what do I really want when building a city? If I was a min-maxer, I'd want spreadsheets. If I was a builder, I'd want tons of assets for detailing. Or if I was here for the story, I'd want interesting characters and challenging decisions to make. I'm thinking of something like Frostpunk, for example. I suppose it depends on your preference as a player how you answer that, but I still think that you can boil that down to one overarching answer that encompasses everybody. I think what we want really is the freedom to express our creativity in the fullest way possible. And the challenge then for developers is to decide what tools to give the players in order to achieve that. Now, I don't mean to pick on Manor Lords again, but it's a contemporary, so it's relevant. But Manor Lords has 3 tools that I can see. You can plop, plot, and trade. In case you're unfamiliar with plopping, that's just the thing that you do when you place your buildings down. And all city builders have this as mainstay. Not all of them have plotting though. And that's kind of one of the unique draws for Manor Lords. You're able to plot the parcels of land for individual homes, and at the moment your manor as well. Obviously, trade speaks for itself. Compared to Banished, though, the tools available in that is just plopping and trading. City skylines, you're able to plop, plot, trade, and there's an additional environmental tool because you're able to change the actual map design on the fly in-game or even before you start. Anno's tools are plopping, trading, and the additional of diplomacy. I think you get the point. It's about the tools that the developers give. And these tools are common, if slightly different from title to title. So, what about Foundation? What tools does it have? Foundation has the ability to plop, plot, trade, do some simple diplomacy. It also has the ability to change the environment because it has uniquely procedural maps. That alone really sets it above most other titles. But additionally, it also has modularity of assets. And this is kind of unique to Foundation as well. Alongside normal ploppable buildings, you're given the tools to create huge monuments of buildings, your imagination being the only thing there that can hold you back. And when it comes to plotting in Foundation, almost everything is plottable. Not just houses, like in Manor Lords, or like farms in most other city builders as well. Because of how simple the plot tool is in Foundation, it's just a paintbrush, which means that any system that isn't directly plottable is somehow affected by it, which means that you're able to create your own synergies, ones that aren't prescribed to you by the developers. I'm not saying that more is better, because the depth of each of these tools is important, obviously, and they vary from title to title, as does the extent to which they overlap and engage with each other to create their deeper level of play. But the fact that Foundation simply has more tools on offer means that you can do more creatively. Now that I've said it out loud, I'm beginning to wonder if that's what makes it so special. I don't want to get into the conversation about realism versus beauty, but I suppose I started this conversation, so I should probably mention it. If you can't get over the art style and it breaks the immersion that you need to enjoy the experience, even if you agree with me on the grounds of tools and creativity, I get it. No hard feelings. I wish the aesthetic was more grounded too, I really do. But for me, it doesn't interfere with my enjoyment. It's a valid point though. Perhaps if the modding community were able to change that, it might open up a new audience. I'm not holding my breath for that. By the way, in case you didn't know, mods are also built right into the experience of Foundation and are actively encouraged by the developers. They're built into the game. To add a mod, you just click apply and hit play. Yet another tool, perhaps. So if you're bouncing off Foundation because of the art style, I get it, but in my opinion, you'd be missing out. At the end of the day, every city builder offers the same promise. Tools, complexity, and whether or not it's fun, the balance just changes from one to the next. Some of the titles are offering you deep systems within their tools, daring you to try to tame them. I've lost a lot of hours staring at spreadsheets in Anno, I'll admit. While others are stripping it all back, trying to give you the most streamlined user experience. I've also spent way too much time just watching villagers carry wood around. If you haven't figured it out already, then I'll forgive you for not realizing that I consider myself a builder. And perhaps that's why I like Foundation so much. Out of all of the comparisons that I've made, and I'll make a bold claim right now, but when it comes to building mechanics, because of the procedural buildings that you can create in Foundation, it is absolutely market leader. I dare you to think of something better. You can't. I mean, I've got high hopes for Noble Legacy, which is something that I'm covering, but even that I think will fall short. I think Foundation is very clever, hovering just above complex systems, which I could easily get bogged down in and frustrated with if I wasn't in the right mindset for it. But it's got just enough micromanagement to keep your eye on the ball, because any change that you make, either an addition or just moving something around, well, that has real effects, but not too much that it causes major problems. But here's my hot take. I think Polymorph Games hit the sweet spot with Foundation. In my opinion, they built it to satisfy one thing: what it feels like to play. Playing Foundation is like having a conversation, perhaps with yourself. Roads get built not because you dictate it, but because you guide them. You come to paint and play in Foundation, and out of that play grows a city, or a town, or a village, or a monastery, or a castle. Perhaps you didn't even know what you were building, but in the end, by golly, you love it. Maybe that's why I keep coming back to Foundation. Not for the challenge, not for the grind, but for that small, rare thing every builder secretly chases. A game that reminds me why I fell in love with building in the first place. It's fun. Anyway, that's all I've got time for. So I'll just say, if you have been, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Or if you thought my ramblings were particularly excellent, you can even join as a member now. But until next time, this has been A Little Essay, and I have been Lord Bara.